Hey everybody, we are back for another episode of our nickel hunt and album fill. Hey everybody, this is James with Cadroll Hunter. Welcome back to my channel. That's right, we got a full box of Canadian customer wrapped nickels, so there's a good chance we can find some oldies and some goodies in here for sure. This is episode 5 of our nickel hunt and album fill. And if you recall, we've got 69 slots out of 117 that are filled in the album, but we have lots of space, obviously, for any of the King George V, but we have tons of space in the 40s and the 50s for us to fill up. Otherwise, we're in pretty good shape, so I'll get into the next bit here. What we're really hoping to find is that 64 extra waterline, a 1970 we don't have. Otherwise, we're in pretty good shape. Of course, we want to find any upgraders, but we're really hoping to fill some of these older slots. And that's only going to happen if we've got older nickels in the box. So let's get right in there and we will see what we can find. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for your support for my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and let's get going. So we're already into roll number 9, and this has been a tough box. We haven't found anything yet so far, only a couple of nickels for the nickel jar. But I'm bringing you in because we have found ourselves a pretty nice looking 1985, and I think this might be an upgrader for the album. So we'll take a peek at this. That's actually looking pretty good. So I'm going to set that aside on the board, and I noticed as I flattened this one out that it looks like there's a lot of older coins, not necessarily nickel, but a lot of what might be 80s and 90s. So this might be one to see if we can find some upgrades for those years. Same roll, we got a pretty decent looking 1992. I'm not entirely sure if this will upgrade, but I know a lot of our 80s and 90s aren't terrific. So I'll set this one aside. You can see there's lots of detail on that beaver. We'll just see if it's any better than the one we already have in the album. Roll number 13, things aren't looking much better. However, we are finding some pretty decent looking coins. This one here is a 1986 in pretty good shape. So this could be an upgrader. So if we're not finding a lot of older coins, then I'm going to just keep a close eye out for what might possibly upgrade what's already in the album. And we don't have a lot of in the 80s that are as nice as this one here. So we're going to keep our eyes open. Hopefully this will change and we'll see something interesting a little older. We got all those King George the 6th slots, 40s and 50s to fill up. So we're hoping this box will heat up. Same roll, and we got a great looking 1994 here, so we might well have some upgraders for some of these ones in the 80s and 90s that aren't looking so good in the album. I've got a 1996 here out of roll number 14, and one of the things that we want to check for, of course, is whether or not we have the near 6 or the far 6, and this one looks like it might be the far 6, and if it's the attached 6 is what I'm really looking for, one that's got a die chip between the D and the 6. Haven't found it yet, keep on looking for it. Roll number 19, and for a second I thought we had something older, but it's a 1994 that it's either been dirty or somebody's painted it with a Sharpie or something like that. So nothing old just yet, and we still have a lot of rolls to go through, so I'm not giving up hope. I just cracked into roll number 21, and we got our very first American, our first foreign of the box. It's a 1999 Philadelphia. We'll put that on the board over here. We typically get a bunch of US coins, but that hasn't been the case yet, so maybe things are going to change a little bit in this roll. Same roll, and I'm hoping this might be a good sign. It's a 1980. We haven't had anything for the Nickel Cup in a while, but of course with the 1980, we can scope that and see if we've got any doubling on the date. I don't see that at all, but it's nickel for the Nickel Cup, and it means that there might be some older ones in some of these rolls after all. Roll number 29, and we're still not having much luck, but this is a really nice looking 1994. We've found another nice one earlier. We'll put that on our pile of finds here, and we'll see if that will upgrade. Roll number 31, and we found just our second American in the bunch here, and this is a 2015 out of Denver. Roll 34, and we got a plastic wrapped roll here. A lot of edges that look like they're mid 80s, 90s, the Cupro nickel. They just have that sort of dull look about them. And then one in the middle looks pretty interesting, but I suspect it's probably just a really dirty nickel from that era. So I'll lay it down and we'll have a peek and see what exactly that is. Or actually what we'll do is I'll just put it down and we'll take a look right now, live. And yeah, it's a 1989 with some interesting kind of toning. I don't know what that's all about, but definitely not older. And I suspect that's what a lot of this stuff is just coins in that era. Same roll, and here's one that looks particularly nice. We'll see what this is and hope that it's something we might be able to upgrade. And it's a 1998, which might have upgraded, but it's got some, definitely got some gunk on it, unfortunately. Well, when the coin box is giving you lemons, you try to make lemonade. So here is a pretty nice looking 1989 that could potentially upgrade. So we've got a growing collection of coins that might potentially upgrade. We'll see. I'm hoping that we get something out of this hunt and not just a full box to return to the bank. Hopefully we can keep our hands on something worth keeping. Roll 41, and we're finally going to have another find, and that is just another U.S. nickel, a 2004 out of Denver. And maybe this is another good sign. We'll see. We're getting late in the box now, but we're hoping to find some coins here worth keeping. I'm in the same roll, and I was just about to take this 1974 and throw it in the nickel jar when I noticed that we've got our first legitimate find. It is a 1963 laureate portrait. Our first laureate of the bunch. And this could even be an upgrader. It's got some marks on it and some scratches, but I noted earlier that our 1960, our early 1960s were in pretty rough shape. So we'll have a peek. Last coin of that roll, and only our second 1960s nickel. So this roll has been sort of better than anything we've found so far. Roll number 42, and we're going to have a couple of foreign finds in here because we've got an older US nickel at the front. We got a newer one at the back here, so let's see what that is. That is a 2006 Denver. And this one looks like it could be older. It's just an 85. This one out of Philadelphia. Roll number 43, and we've actually been finding a few older nickels in this roll. Here's another, here's 1979. It's actually pretty nice. I already looked. It's not going to upgrade the album. We've already got a really nice one in there. But this is probably one I'll just set aside to our finds and hold on to because it's not often we find a 79 in this good shape. Well, we are down to our last roll. And if the coin gods don't decide to impart us with a parting gift here in the last roll, I will be back with a wrap up. Well, we have completed that 50 roll hunt and our finds were pretty meager. Our nickel cup, we barely got anything in there whatsoever, and that's always a bad sign because it means there's not much old stuff in there. Of our finds, we actually just got 5 US quarters. That's quite a bit lower than we would normally get. One really interesting toned 1989. We got a pretty decent 1979, and our only true find on the board tonight was one laureate portrait 1963. We'll get a good look at that here. Otherwise, our consolation prizes were some fairly decent 80s and 90s coins that we're going to check against the album. It's hard to know if this box was already hunted. On the one hand, I think it could very well have been, but on the other hand, I know that this is actually pretty representative of what's actually circulating. And the other thing to keep in mind is that customer wrapped rolls are really fickle. We don't know if it's somebody who's emptying out their piggy bank that's been sitting there for 50 years collecting, or if it's somebody just rolling up coins that they're getting in their business, which are going to, represent sort of, or be representative of what's just out there. You just never know. So they could be searched, they could be anything. But that's it. So I'll come back and we'll have a look at our album. That's just the way that coin roll hunting goes. We have to take the good with the bad, or the bad with the good in this case, I suppose. Let's have a look and see if we got any upgrades. So I've gone through all of our finds, and unfortunately, of course, as you know, we didn't fill any of the holes that we had. We didn't get anything in the 40s or the 50s that would have helped us fill some of the slots earlier on in the album. But remarkably, we did get 6 upgraders. And so we've upgraded this 1986. We upgraded the 87 and the 89, as well as the 1992, 93, and 94. We found some pretty good examples of those, and the ones we had in the album weren't that great. So we're holding even at 69 slots filled. Of course, we have 4 other slots we filled with coins that didn't have a slot, like our bare belly that we found. And some of the varieties, like the 1977 high 7, low 7, aren't really represented in this book, as well as the 1996 near 6, far 6. So we have some varieties that are in the album, but of the numbered slots, we have 69 of 117. We still have a ways to go, but the album got a little bit better today than it was before we did this hunt, so that's good. And hopefully our next box will have more finds for us. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Cadroll Hunter, please hit that subscribe button. That would be fantastic. Hit the notification icon. You find out when we've got new videos coming out. We have new videos coming out all the time. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you again soon.